Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Pearson. I'm the director of the Office of International Education. Thanks for joining our virtual Study Abroad Fall Fair. I have with me today an amazing professor, Dr. Terry Kohlmeyer, and she'll be leading a program, an education-based program, to Cozumel, Mexico this summer. So she's with me today to talk all about the program, answer any questions that you may have. We do have one student on with us today too. Thanks for joining. And we might have a few more that will join us in a few moments. But with that being said, Terry, I'm going to turn it over to you and tell us a little bit about, the program. I know this is a second offering. You ran it in winter of 2019, right? And was it this past winter, 2020?
Yeah,
okay, wow.
COVID.
in COVID world, everything is years, it seems, even though it's only been a few months. So
that's true. That's true.
But yeah, that's fantastic. So this would be the next opportunity that we're hopeful to be able to run it, which is summer of 2021. So with that being said, Terry, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's a wonderful study abroad trip. There's so many experiences that students have. Primarily, I just want to mention that we do some pre-planning before we go. And this particular, I would say, study abroad trip, we've decided that we would work together collaboratively to plan the lessons. So students decide whether they would like to work with early childhood. We have some students across campus who worked with adults with disabilities and the Center for Rehabilitation. We also had some students who worked middle childhood, if you will. So there are lots of opportunities to work with all age groups. But if someone prefers to work with one age group or two age groups, we can make that happen as well. In addition to the 40 hours out in the schools, the other wonderful thing that we get an opportunity to do is explore Cozumel. We have a transportation already arranged, and we're able to go to the beaches. We go and visit the ruins. Is a wonderful afternoon, learning a lot of the history of Cozumel. A lot of people don't know that Cozumel is an island off of the Yucatan, and so there's a lot of Mayan influence and history, which is really interesting to learn about. In addition to that, we visit Punta del Sur, which is at the southern tip of the island, and we try all the foods. We are able to explore the downtown Malecon area. The hotel where we stay is called Casa Mexicana. And so when we're not in the schools, we've got about 40 hours we put into the schools, working directly with students, families, their cooperating teachers. And when we're not there, we're either working on our lessons, making readjustments, or a little bit of shopping, a little bit of eating, a little bit of exploring the area. And I'm excited to go back this second time because, of course, I've established relationships with the local community. And so it will make it a much more wonderful trip. Even though it was wonderful when we went, this is just going to be even more exciting.
Great. And, some of the questions that I know that students might be thinking, one, do I need to speak Spanish? Is that going to be a problem?
Well, it isn't a problem. What we do is we provide a kind of an orientation to Spanish, if you will, and we share some key vocabulary that we use in the schools. I speak Spanish fluently, and I do have students that come along that use a lot of their Spanish. And so they're when I find out who is speaking some Spanish, I always ask for them to give us support and do some interpreting for us. In addition to that, many of the staff at the schools, more the adult rehab programs, speak English. But we do a lot of preparation. And so in that, we find the students just love engaging in the materials, engaging in the lesson plans. And, some of them speak a little bit of English, and our students use a little bit of the Spanish that they've learned. So it don't need to have the Spanish. We work with the University of Quintana Roo. I have a friend who volunteers and just teaches some conversational Spanish for the students. So works out great.
Great. And my understanding is that students are earning 3 credits through the experience. So
They
they're
are 3 credits. The course itself is the ECSE course called Methods, Materials, and Curriculum in Early Childhood Special Education. That's ECSE or SPED 310. I also had students last year who were able to get the 2 credits for the pre-student teaching because they spent so many hours in the school. So we had 3 students that actually received credit for that as well. We worked a little bit with the Spanish department for some students to do independent studies last year. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that this year for a number of reasons, but we still provide the opportunity for students to speak Spanish and to use their Spanish with others and the children, and also to just gain that experience of language and culture.
great. Tell me a little bit about what students can expect during the experience. So I know there's the classroom, teaching experience. Outside of classroom, in terms of where you're staying, what kinds of things are there to see and do in the evenings or the afternoons?
Well, great. We'll be there in May. So a lot of people think, oh, Cozumel, I'm going down for spending the entire time at the beach. But there are so many different possible excursions. I'm going to share with you some of the excursions that we take. We stay at, again, the Casa Mexicana. There's 2 students to a room. That just seemed to work really well last year. The restaurant in the hotel offers a free breakfast. And so every morning we'd meet as a group and we'd have breakfast and we'd talk about our day, debrief about our day before. An excellent breakfast, lots of choices. And then we hop in the taxi, which is actually a van. We all fit in one van. So we were able, and we'd get dropped off at the various school sites. When we weren't and then we get picked up when we're done teaching and working in the schools. On occasion, let's see, we stopped and saw Victor, who is our taxi driver. We learned about black coral and explored black coral jewelry making. So that was fun. These were spontaneous opportunities. They have a wonderful park where they're someone donated an old, I think it's like a 727 plane, but it's a technology park. And so we were able to visit that, and some of the students that use that, it's open to the public in that neighborhood. We also went to several playas or beach areas and snorkeled. We had probably a 6-hour excursion where we snorkeled, went out on a boat. It was our own boat. We had 3 gentlemen that were very supportive and helpful, and we snorkeled off the boat out in the ocean. They taught us how to do it. So if anybody's never snorkeled before, don't worry. We got all the instructions. We wore life jackets. It was really a one. And then after we got done, we had an amazing meal that they had prepared for us, and it was fabulous. Oh my gosh, visiting the ruins is something I think we absolutely should do because of the historical information and just the experience of how the evolution of the island occurred. We're on the Malecón, which is a word for boardwalk. So all the restaurants, there's a plaza, and in the plaza area, on Sunday nights, they have gatherings of all the families in the area get together, and they have Latino music, dancing, singing. So we did that. Lots of shopping. I could go ferry across to Playa del Carmen, and there's a really awesome market there. So we'll want to make sure to get over there one afternoon. So I could go on and on. There are a lot of opportunities for just even strolling on the Malecón and going out to the ferry, the old churches. We visited some old churches, and some of it was planned and some of it was spontaneous.
Sure. And the entire duration of the program, is it 3 weeks long? Is that the?
Well, it's actually, the course is 3 weeks.
Okay.
We'll spend this year, what we plan to do, we did shorten the trip a bit, primarily because of the circumstances with COVID, but we'll spend time together virtually planning the lessons, deciding, students will want to decide where they want to volunteer and do their work with the schools. And then I will confirm those placements, and then planning will need to take place. The other thing we do is we collect materials, used or new, that we take down with us, that we use with the students, and then we leave materials such as books, paper, markers, crayons. Unfortunately, they don't have a lot of resources, and so anything we take down is new. Bubbles for outdoor play. Teachers planned games to develop motor skills with the middle schoolers. But we're going to do a lot of that planning in that first 4 days, and then we head down, and then we come back a little early, and we'll do some debriefing. We'll talk about behavior plans. So the trip is 11 days, and it includes 2 weekends so that we can do our excursions, and then time in the schools during the day.
Great. And the departure dates, is it right after the spring semester ends? So we're looking at,
we're looking at early, mid-May, as soon as the semester ends, because typically we would prefer to go down at wind term. One of the reasons for that is, obviously the weather is beautiful, but it's perfect actually. A little bit of rain. We had some rain this past, which was kind of fun, but it gets a little warm in June, July, and August. So if we go to May there, first of all, the students are still in school, and we would have a little bit cooler weather. So that's the plan.
Perfect.
Still warm, but
of course. Yeah. But I don't want to take away all the questions here. I know that we have Bella on the line too. Bella, do you have any direct questions to ask Terry?
Not really. I was just gonna say that, well, if I'm able to go and everything works out, I'll be there over my birthday, so we can do something for that too.
We did. We celebrated a couple of birthdays when we were down there, so we can absolutely make that happen.
Yeah. Extra special. Yeah.
Yeah. Very. It's an area, especially in May, it's not going to be very touristy at all. And what I find is that we would get off the beaten path. When you're working in the schools and you go into the neighborhoods, you'll find that that it's very much, I would say, not as touristy as you'd think, so having those experiences is good, and we do get off the beaten track. And one of the other things I didn't mention, and I would like to mention, is that in addition to visiting the schools for children with disabilities, and those schools are called CAM schools, we also have an opportunity for students to visit the Montessori school, and I've made arrangements this year for our students to see a general education school, primary, or primaria they call it. So when we get down there, one of the first things we do the day after is we go to we visit these school sites, so that the students get in a real, at least a visual understanding of what the schools are like and how they're similar and how they're different. So
fantastic. One other question that I have that could be on the minds of some of the students and maybe some of the parents is safety. Can you talk a little bit about the safety of the particular area where you'll be traveling in Mexico?
Yeah. So this area that we go to, again, it's an island. And so what a lot of the residents told me, and a lot of there's a university on the island as well, but the individuals who don't live there have to ferry across. And so they can control, honestly, I felt very, very safe. the hotel where we're staying is very well, there's a lot of good security is what I would like to say, and a lot of someone greeting us at the door, opening up the door. We have to go up an escalator, someone greeting us up there. So they have a lot of service staff and security staff that really kind of keep a good eye on us, if I may say. In traveling to the schools, we have that all the transportation set up. Taxis, students never go anywhere alone. That's our very strong rule that we have. So, what I found with this trip is that a lot of the students, we stuck together. So even though we do schedule meals where we do eat together, I found that groups of us ate together. No one really went out on their own at all. In fact, it's not really allowed, if you will. So they're also practicing COVID practices. I know that for a fact. I communicate with friends in the area. They're wearing masks, they're social distancing. Children are wearing masks in the schools. Teachers are wearing masks in the schools, but they are open. They are serving students and their families. So
wonderful. Yeah, and I know that our office coordinates with our risk and safety, management team here to make sure that we're never sending students to an area that's a high risk or sending students in harm's way. And recently, the State Department changed the way that it evaluates locations within Mexico. It used to have a certain threat level for the entire country, and now it's region by region. Right. And I know that this particular area is a very safe and well-traveled in terms of from a tourist perspective.
Well, and that's true. I mean, tourism is a huge industry for Mexico in general, but quite huge for Cozumel, where cruise ships, although in May, they're probably, I don't even know if they're even what is happening in that area, but sure. They really probably it won't be as touristy, if you will, when we're there in May, because it isn't that time of year. But yes, they're being very cautious. This is a big industry for Mexico, and I know that tourism is important to this country.
Sure, and it really presents a neat opportunity, being that you're going off season, and you'll have
exactly.
A great opportunity to interact with the local people.
I'm excited about that. Yes, yeah, absolutely. It'll be fewer Americans, fewer Europeans, so it'll be nice.
Excellent. I know I have a colleague who joined us as well, Chela Sea, and I know Chela has been working with you quite well in terms of developing the program, and we constantly have been pivoting. One thing I should also state is the plan is, of course, to be able to execute and to run the program in May. If anything does change between now and coming months, of course, we'll make the announcement, and anybody who does apply, if we make the difficult decision to postpone or to cancel the program, students will get a full refund of anything that they pay into it. So no worries in terms of being able to submit a deposit or pay an application fee for the current cycle. Chela, did you have any thing that you'd like to add to the conversation? And she could be. We have multiple people on several calls right now, so she could just be here through her profile image. With that, Bella, did you have any questions? Any questions for Terry, or should Terry show us some pictures from the last time that she went?
Yeah, if you have time to show pictures, or like I have Terry in class, so you could always show me in class.
And I'll be talking more and more about the program for sure as we move forward. But I'm going to share my screen. And I just kind of pulled these up out of a file folder. We also have a really nice video and slide presentation that Chela helped me and my colleague put together. And I don't have that up because I don't think I downloaded it. So in the future, that is available as well for anybody that would like to take a look at that. It's a really nice, short 5-minute video. But in the meantime, I'm going to enthusiastically share my pictures with you. And I'm just trying to think of where to begin. Well, I'll begin with this one. Let me pull my screen over, please. Yeah. So one of the things that we did, sorry, I've got a couple up here. There you go. Can you see that okay, Bella? One of the things we did is on one of our final days, we went to Chankanab. And Chankanab, Cozumel's very proud of Chankanab because they have an absolutely beautiful park, botanical gardens, dolphins that swim close enough that you can see them. They have scuba diving, snorkeling, and a rich opportunity to learn more about the Mayan culture. So we did that on our one of our last days in Cozumel. This is the CAM school. They were wonderful to work with. The director is on the far right. Our students were Mara and Brianna, and Renee. And then there I am in the back. These are students who are learning how to self-help skills and independent skills. So a lot of cooking, a lot of jewelry making. There's a real range of students here. Ages range from probably 14 up to 21 or 22 or 23, because a lot of these students wouldn't know, don't have any other place to go. They learn technology, and our students worked with this school for 4 days. And then he gave us all t-shirts. This was, we did have several meals together. One of the things about Cozumel in the winter is there are some amazing sunsets. And so we frequently ate together as a group, as you can see. And this is at a local Italian restaurant, but the food is superb and they serve a variety of food. I'm like their fish.
Terry, I just see one image of I think the very first. If you're able to maybe expand to the entire screen on the images, I might be able to see them a little bit better.
Apologize. I always forget that I do that. Let me just go back to you and the screen share. See if I can do my desktop then. Is this better?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, this is our evening out, one of our evenings out to eat. So we dress up, and this was the sunsets are beautiful in Cozumel. So can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for suggesting that, Scott. I apologize. I didn't realize. This is one of our students. Students brought down materials, a lot of open-ended lessons, sometimes not knowing the developmental levels of our students. We have to be very flexible. So our teachers definitely learned flexibility. This is an elementary school, and there's usually about 11 to 13 students in the classes, but sometimes, depending on the weather, there might be fewer. And so here they are constructing designs, mosaics with shapes and talking about shapes. And what this teacher did is it was cool because she actually had the terminology, she had all the vocabulary in Spanish with her, and then was working with the students on naming shapes. And then they made these really cool, these are tongue depressors. And so the students enjoyed building them and using the shapes in their constructions. This is in one of the classrooms, again, doing a similar activity as you can see, but getting close to the children, getting down at their level is so important. These are 2 students working one-on-one with several students with severe disabilities. And you can see in the classroom, they have desks and they have windows, and they all open up. The schools open up to a courtyard. This is one of our excursions that we took when we went snorkeling. We are set up transportation, and then we had our boat driver, and this was our instructor in terms of how to, this was after we had been on the boat all day. And then they bring a photographer along, but she's also an excellent snorkeler. So what she does is she takes pictures of us underwater and then shares them. We get a chance to take a look at those. It's quite fun. Here we are on a little cruise in, I think this is around Punta del Sur. So we're taking some pictures. Again, you can see that we all go together, and everyone kind of decides. I didn't have anybody say they didn't want to go on any of the excursions. So we kind of came to some consensus and decided which ones we would go on together as a group. Here is Lindsay and Heidi working with a group of, these are preschoolers, so they're 4 and 5 before primary school. And this was an activity that Lindsay had planned, and we bring down Play-Doh, we bring, matching games, we bring books with us, so we do a lot of reading, and even the pictures, even if we just work on naming pictures for those that are not able to speak a lot of Spanish. In fact, all the students said they left having picked up quite a bit of vocabulary. And young children are very forgiving, so it's a great way to interact.
It's wonderful.
And
Terry,
then,
I'm
how we
just
doing
seeing
time-wise?
that the time we've just run to the edge of our time limit here, but I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today and to share a little bit about this amazing opportunity. I see that we have another student that just joined, Mara, and I believe you had mentioned that she was also very interested in this program. So,
yes.
Mara, thanks for joining us.
Is that Mara Harder?
Yes.
Well, she came with us when we went last year, and Mara went back in August. Mara, you're on mute.
Oh, and I think you're showing your screen still too, Terry.
Oh,
I'm good at that.
Yeah, no, I did go back in August and met up with our taxi driver and visited all the places that we had gone. It was amazing. Terry was a fantastic leader, and we ended our trip scuba diving together, so it was just amazing.
Yeah, we did.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that was the first time that I'd ever scuba dove, so it was.
There you are, Terry.
Hi, Mara. Yeah, we've got a student that's interested, Bella. She's in my early literacy course, and maybe anything else you want to share that I didn't? I've got a couple of pictures I showed.
I caught up in the last couple of minutes, so I'm not sure what you went over, but everything just, the group, it was great. We did our group activities, which I thought was really important for a lot of us who had never traveled like me or been out of the country. Everything was really organized. We felt comfortable. Like we're able to come to a consensus to what we wanted to do and where we wanted to go. We felt safe. We experienced so much. Like I was exhausted when I got back. No, it just was perfect in working with the children and the relationships that we made down there, the connections we made, the differences in the schools. Like it was like the cliche life-changing experience, but I think of it every single day. In fact, I was talking with a student yesterday in Spanish, and she was laughing at me, but I couldn't get her to do her work, and we started talking in Spanish, and she started talking and got her work done, and it was amazing. So there's so many things that I have brought back from that trip that I would never have gotten. So I'm so I could cry. I'm so thankful for it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'm pretty passionate about this trip. I hope you'll give it some thought and join in. If I could get Mara to come down with me again in May.
You're going in May?
No, she can be an ex officio
Maestra.
Maestra.
I'm very sorry. I have to go to another session right now, but I really appreciate you sharing, Terry. I'm going to stop the recording now. And if you'd like to stay in the chat room, you're more than welcome to continue the conversation. Maybe Bella has a few more questions. So
Sounds wonderful.
great.
Scott,
Thanks again.
thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you.
We hope you can join us.